Greetings, dear friends. Russia has launched an attack on Ukraine. It has cited danger to its core national interests and a situation very similar to the Bay of Pigs or the Cuban Missile Crisis way back in 1962. It has become persona non grata globally and is the most sanctioned nation on earth. Global attention is on Ukraine, and everything else has got swept under the carpet, including the danger posed to Taiwan and the new world order by China. Let us therefore refocus our attention back to China. Welcome, my dear friends, to Chak Simplifies, your one stop shop for all complex geopolitical issues. I, Commander Chakrapani, or Chaks, am your host. Today, we will look at the Russian roulette as it progresses in Ukraine, compare the geographical similarities of Ukraine and Taiwan, refocus on China, and take a look at the new and the shapes of the global order. This video will be very brief, like a trailer, for a longer, more detailed version to follow very soon. Let's take a look at China. Look at China, what's happening externally. Its GDP is falling. Its economy is bleeding. It has lent over $1 trillion to 138 countries for access and power. It's trying to work on the debt trap diplomacy and colonization by financial means. It's using trade as a weapon and coercive diplomacy most unashamedly. Its cartographic aggression knows no bounds. On the other hand, it is undermining global institutions like the UN, the WHO, the IMF. It is weaponizing technology. Over 60% of all patents globally in 5G are held by Chinese. Look at China internally. It is facing a huge demographic issues as far as its treatment to minorities. Just around 9%, yet sizable, the Uyghurs, the Tibetans, and many others. It has a falling population. Its population is falling quite rapidly, effects of the one-child policy. Internally, China has a mounting debt crisis with many a company failing. It faces intense water and food security issues. Don't forget, China is probably the most dammed nation in the world with 85,000 plus dams. The falling GDP, reducing trade, and failing businesses have all resulted in unemployment. Effectively, it has a very unhappy population in its hand, which had traded freedom for economic security. The Chinese leadership is on notice, internally and externally. Now let's focus on the geography. Take a look at the geography of Ukraine and Russia. The East European plain is a narrow funnel-like plain which expands as you move eastwards into Russia. It is most easily controllable if you look at Germany. That is what USSR did. However, with the downfall of USSR, NATO continued to grow eastwards, and with Ukraine wanting to join NATO, Russia finds itself in a situation very similar to what the US did when Soviet Union placed its missiles in Cuba. Of course, the Black Sea, especially around Ukraine, is rich in oil and gas, but that's a very minor issue, if you will. Take a look at China. If you look at China, you will find that there are two island chains which hem China in within them so that it does not have unfettered global access. Taiwan is the linchpin, the controlling pin, if you will, for what happens north and south. The north, the access gets blocked by Taiwan, going upwards, the Ryukyu Islands, Japan, South Korea. If you come down south, it is the South China Sea with its littorals from Philippines to Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, downwards through the very narrow Malacca Straits into the Indian Ocean. Therefore, China feels that it needs to rectify or sort out Taiwan, the guardian of the Pacific, in some form. Yet, the resistance shown by Ukraine has ensured Xi Jinping does not take a hasty step as he is not too sure what will happen at this point. COVID has badly dented the economies of the Indo-Pacific region. China is emboldened, yes. The US has proven itself to be unreliable, especially after Afghanistan and now its performance in Ukraine. Taiwan is counting days left before the attack. This region is rapidly weaponizing itself, yet has understood that they cannot really speaking handle China all by itself. A number of bilateral military alliances are getting created. For example, the alliance between Japan and Australia. Multilateral alliances like the Quad are getting strengthened. We have NATO countries, especially UK, France, and Germany, that seek to maintain a naval presence in the Indo-Pacific region. There is a realization that financial sanctions, if they can affect Russia and can be implemented at will, what happens to this region? The New World Order, obviously based on the Old World Order, which was made out by the Bretton Woods type of institutions way back in 1945, after the Second World War, the Old World Order did play its role in maintaining stability and a rules-based governance system globally. It composed of the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund or IMF, the World Bank, the WTO or the World Trade Organization, NATO, G20, and multiple other agreements. Sadly, this order does not seem to be able to handle new technological advances and newer players, especially those that do not bother about sanctions or rules. For example, Iran, Russia, North Korea, China itself. The old world order was Eurocentric with everything happening basically in Europe. New World Order has to be necessarily Indo-Pacific centric or maybe even China centric. This region lacks structures for effective security and mechanisms to contain conflict. What are India's interests? Very obviously, India wants to keep China at bay in its own backyard, yet maintain its strategic autonomy by ensuring minimum effects of whatever happens globally, whether it is in terms of payment systems like having its own RuPay and UPI, or self-reliance or Atmanirbharta in defense. It needs to manage China till it's economically strong enough, and therefore would like to invest in alliances like Quad, Quad Plus, and partner other Indo-Pacific nations. It would like to maintain its naval superiority in the Indian Ocean region to ensure a free, fair, transparent, and economically prosperous Indo-Pacific. The world from here seems to be moving into a situation of Cold War 2.0. Cold War 1.0 ensured the rise of China. Will Cold War 2.0 get the rise of India? We only have to wait and watch. So, ladies and gentlemen, we continue living in very interesting times. If you like this video, please leave a like and comment. That immensely motivates me. Do not feel, don't forget to subscribe to my video. And yet, please remember this video is an introduction to a longer version that will come out very soon. Please wait for that and comment on that long video also. As always, I look forward to your suggestions and continued support. Until my long video in the next couple of days, Jai Hind.